We're going to make the little cake topper, the baby booties, which were on a cake I made recently, and they're very, very easy. If you want to make a pair of booties, this is probably the simplest way to do it, especially if you're a beginner. It's not very hard at all. Then all we need is some white fondant, or whatever colour fondant you want your booties to be, some ribbon. I've chosen blue here so you can see it matches the end product, a little skewer. If you don't have one of these, you could use a toothpick. It's the same thing. This is just a long one that I had at the time, and just a spatula just to help you lift it off the surface you're working on, and a piece of grease paper, which is always handy so that your fondant doesn't stick to your bench. So now we can start. Depending on the size of the cake that you're making, will obviously guide you as to how big you want your booties. But for the cake that I had featured at the beginning of this video, I used about that much fondant. And all I did basically was roll it into a ball, put it on my work surface, and then I took another piece of fondant, about a third of the size of the original piece, rolled that into a ball. And I'll just check that that's proportional first. So that's right. And what we wanted to do was just shape the booty, the bottom booty, a little bit. So it's not exactly a perfect ball. It was a little bit flatter. So just with my hands, I just worked it into the shape that I wanted. So a little bit flat and a little bit narrower at the back. And that was roughly it. So there you go. And with the top piece, what I did was from the ball, I flattened it down a little bit, and on the sides I tried to make it into a little bit of a square. So you can see I'm just squashing in the sides, rotating at 90 degrees each time. So I ended up with a cube. And from here what I did was I used my fingers, 2 fingers, to use a pinching motion to make the sides of the booty come up. So like this. So you can see there I'm trying to make a bit of a hollow at the top there, and with my fingers just pinching and rotating the fondant. As you go around, gently moving the fondant out a little bit, so I'm stretching it a little bit. And then I can press down with my fingers just to maintain that bottom shape. I just place it there just to see if it looks proportional. That's about right. And then I attached it with some water or sugar glue. Press it in nicely. There you go. Now before we start making the knitted look on the booty, what I liked to do was just pinch in a couple of the edges of the fondant, so I ended up with little things, and all I did was just bring the fondant together and just a little pinch. I did 5 creases because I think an uneven number looks more natural than an even number. And then simply take your skewer, the pointy end, and start poking holes all over the booty, and make sure you go right to the bottom. In fact, sometimes it's easier to pick the booty up and do the bottom first, because once you do the top holes and indentations, if you then pick up the booty before it's dry, you can sort of smudge out all the holes that you've done before. So we go ahead and make holes all the way around the booty. Now don't forget to do the top part of the booty. Just keep your finger on the inside of the booty up here just to maintain the shape. Make sure you don't poke the skewer all the way through the fondant at the top because it is quite a lot thinner. And finally, make sure you do holes in the centre as well, because of course when you knit a booty you've got the knitting pattern on the inside and the outside, so you want to make it look as realistic as possible. So make sure you, and just gently support the fondant on the outside with your finger, but be careful not to squash it, because if you do, all these indentations you've made will flatten and you'll have to do it again. Finally, you can take your piece of ribbon, tie a bow around the front. That will hide your join and also make a gorgeous little ending to your, there you are. There's our booty.